Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to And Unity for All. I'm going to keep this one short. I've got a conference call in a few minutes. All right. Economic sanctions. Let's talk about those. Why are they bad? Whole bunch of reasons. First of all, take a look at the history of economic sanctions. What effect do they have? Do they ever have the effect that is desired by the country imposing the sanctions, usually the U.S.? No, they never had the effect, and that's for good reason. First of all, economic sanctions are recognized as being acts of war. So, second, what are the real life effects of sanctions? They cause human suffering. Look at the sanctions that were imposed on Venezuela. You cause a humanitarian crisis, people starving, rioting in the streets. That's a good part of the goal. It is an attempt to make the government of that country look bad, like they're not taking care of their people. Look at the sanctions on North Korea. We talk about people in that country starving, but we put trade sanctions on them which limit the access to food. Then you got sanctions that limit their access to oil in a country that in the wintertime reaches sub-zero temperatures. So that leaves them with three choices. Either bow down, let their people suffer, or commit what is declared to be illegal acts by buying oil to be able to heat people's homes. What would you do in that situation? If you were the leader of that country, what would you do? Are you going to bow down? Are you going to let your people suffer? Or are you going to find some way to get oil for your people not to die in the cold? So, when ineffectiveness, with Venezuela, guess who stepped up to help them? Russia. Wasn't us. We didn't make ourselves the hero. Allergies still getting me. Russia stepped in and gave Venezuela 60,000 tons of non-GMO wheat to ease their humanitarian crisis that was caused by us. The sanctions that have been imposed on Russia, did that make Russia bow down? No, it did not. Instead, they came out of it stronger. They developed new industries, many of which have exceeded our own technology that we had placed restrictions on. You can stop them from trading with other countries, but you cannot stop them from developing their own technology. So, as of May of 2017, Russia paid off the very last of its national debt. Russia is debt-free. China is debt-free. America, the one that is imposing all the sanctions, is $20 trillion plus in debt and growing. And most of the countries that we're imposing sanctions on have universal health care, and we don't. So ask yourself what these sanctions really mean. Other things about the sanctions on Russia or any country, it causes problems for the countries that trade with them. The sanctions on Russia cause more problems for their trading partners in Europe than it caused for Russia. Russia expanded their agricultural output. So this does not work. Russia grew up and developed their own technologies and is now the #1 oil producer in the world. It's not about anything except trying to make them bow down. You can't make another country bow down to you with economic sanctions. And that's not the point. Very often, the economic sanctions imposed by the U.S. are a prelude to humanitarian intervention. In other words, imposing war on another country without calling it war. We want to make the other country's government, their leaders, look like demons. And most of the time, those leaders have been democratically elected. But we want to oust them. Our government wants to oust them and install our own puppets. Stop supporting the sanctions against other countries. It does not work. There is no point to it except for trying to destroy a country so that we can impose our own power on them and grow the American empire. The empire is falling and it's not getting back up. The ones in power are desperate now. They're trying to spread war to every corner, every country on the planet. We are currently threatening over 80 countries with economic sanctions. What does that tell you? So, no. Just no. Alright, I got to get to my conference call. I'll have to post this video later. And please share this video. Hit like and subscribe. And if you can, become a patron on Patreon. I'll talk to you next time.